everybody? This is Toy Addict 26 here, back again with another review of the Thundercats Ultimates Wave 2 action figures from Super 7. This is an advanced look today at Mumm, the Ever-Living. Yes, folks, this is the beast. This is the Mumm. This is the figure that fans and collectors have been waiting for a long time. There have been iterations of this character made before by Bandai and other companies, but never something cartoon accurate like this figure here in front of me. This thing is amazing. Mumm is approximately 9 inches tall from foot to head. Foot to tip of crown, sorry. And he is chock full of awesome accessories. He brings 3 interchangeable hands, 2 closed fists, 2 holding hands, and 2 grasping hands. The closed fists are the ones that I have on the figure right now. These are the gripping hands. He brings the gyroscope accessory, an alternate head. This is amazing. This looks like it just jumped out of the TV screen and onto your toy shelf. The paint apps on Mumm, the Ever-Living, are pretty damn good. There's not a lot of paint blemishes or issues like I have encountered on the other figures in this wave so far. So it's great to see that they give a little bit more TLC to this big boy. And, you know, thank God they did, because a lot of people have been waiting to add this to their collection. The sculpted details are amazing. Paint apps are really clean. It just looks fantastic. Love this head sculpt. And then, of course, he's got the angry head sculpt, Sword of Plundar. The Sword of Plundar is a little disappointing, to be honest. It's made of like a pearlescent molded plastic instead of being painted in a metallic color. So it kind of has that fake toy, cheapy look to it. It kind of shimmers a little bit, but it doesn't quite have that sword blady look to it. So this is something that I'll definitely probably repaint over with some Citadel paints or maybe a metallic marker or something just to make it look better. The hilt is really cool. It's got the wrapped snakes. It's in a kind of solid mustard brown. There's a little line here in the middle. I'm not quite sure if that is a factory flaw or like where they attach these two parts, the seam. The paint seems to have bled out a little bit here onto the blade, on that edge and on this edge. Little minor things, you know, not a big deal. There seems to be like a little piece of plastic protruding from the blade itself. That looks kind of ugly. I'm wondering if I could probably like sand that down or something. But it's a little flimsy, not very sturdy, but it's still a stiff, hard, and very long accessory. I mean, it's way taller than Mumm, as it should be. And then, of course, we have his trusted doggy, Mumm. So Mumm is more of like the standard 5 POA type of figure. He just has swivel joints at all 4 legs and then 1 solid swivel at the neck. The tail is static, it does not move. It's like a soft rubber, but it does not move, it does not articulate. The detail is really nice on Mumm. They painted the eyes in like that ruby red, and he's got the little dot, the little black dot in the middle. I like how they did the bottom jaw, where it's almost like a fuzzy, grainy look to it. Almost makes it look like like a like a textured skin, very porous. I like that detail. The colors pretty much are like a solid blue here, and there's a little bit of airbrushing in certain parts to accentuate the muscles. The black ears, black tail, and the red collar with the golden spikes. It's awesome that we got Mammut with Mumm. This is an amazing figure overall. It just has so much fun stuff. And then, of course, the C. Jessam posable cape with the wired seams. So let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at articulation and all the good stuff that this amazing Mumm Ever Living bestows upon us collectors. Another accessory the figure comes with is the gyroscope regulator. This is from one of the later, I want to say, close to final episode, if not final episode. And, you know, it's key to a particular episode. So it does have, you know, relation to Mumm, but it's a very random accessory. Some of these figures in the Super 7 Ultimates line have been coming with some random accessories. It's cool nonetheless, the fact that we just get little extra pieces here and there, whether it's, you know, Thundera relics and stuff like that, or something key to an episode. It should come as no surprise that the box that Mumm comes in is massive. Here for comparison is Pumaira's box, and here is Mumm's box. I've already taken the figure out of the package, but I wanted to show you guys what the massive box looks like. This is Mumm the Ever Living. It has the twin serpent emblem in the back. And then when you remove the slip cover, we have this beautiful character bio art that is also has already been seen in the Thundercats reaction figures. This is a LJN toy-based Mumm character bio, as you can see from him having the sword, the toy sword from the LJN toy line. And of course, that sword does not come with this figure, but you never know. Later down the line, we might get an LJN-inspired colorway for Mumm as a variant or an exclusive or something, and it could come with this sword. It would be a good opportunity for it. But here, if you want to pause it and read it later, that's the character bio. Let me show you guys how the cape is attached, because originally when I got this guy out of the package, I assumed immediately that the cape hole pegged into the neck peg, but it doesn't. As a matter of fact, if you turn this guy around, you're going to see this little peg here that's in the middle of the top back, and that's where the cape attaches. So what you do is you basically get this and you kind of put it in there, make sure it kind of wraps inside, locks in. Once that's in, then we go ahead and put the bandages back on, let one lay over here, and then pop the head on. So it's fairly easy, but originally I thought the hole pegged in elsewhere, which makes sense because now that it's pegged into the lower back, it's a lot easier to clasp the cape tips to these spikes on his forearms, on his wrists, sorry. And it also gives you a lot more liberty in terms of range of movement with the arms and the cape attached. Originally, I was doing it wrong. So that works really well and looks awesome. And also it helps to kind of alleviate a little bit of that no-neck look that he has. It kind of lets you raise the head a little bit higher up on the figure. So let's take a look at the articulation, and there's a lot of it on this guy. Of course, properly so. He's a big, beefy figure, measuring almost 9 inches tall from the bottom of the feet to the top of the crest there on his headdress, on his crown. So, first off, the head is just like every other Thundercats. It's kind of like just on that ball peg. So there's really not a lot of range of motion because it's so busy here. There's so much going on. The wraps, which are made of like a thicker rubber, they're not very thin. And then he kind of has a stubby neck. I want to say it's a little stubbier than what the original solicitation prototypes showed. In the prototypes, his head was raised up more like that. And I'm pretty sure you could see his neck more. But nonetheless, I guess like if you remove this, let's see, you could see the neck. So it's really a matter of, you know, the way the robes, the ribbons hanging on the neck, around the neck, it's kind of like a neck collar, so it kind of hides the neck. But yeah, going back to the neck movement, you're going to get mostly a swivel movement, very slight angular, unless you kind of raise the head a little bit, and then you get some slight angular movements. He can look up just that much and down just that much, so it's not really a lot of range of movement there, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen also a hinged neck peg like we see in Marvel Legends nowadays. That would have been really awesome on this particular figure. It just would give him so much more personality and give him more range to do these expressive and interesting poses. So then that's pretty much the neck, and then the arms, they're on a ball hinge, swivel hinge joint at the shoulder. He's got a bicep cut on the left arm. He has bandages wrapped around the arm, but they're movable. They're not attached permanently, so they don't hinder the range of motion. The elbow, he has a swivel and a hinge joint, and he's got good range of motion. You can bring up the arm this high, T-pose, the whole nine. Everything's really good there, nice and fluid. And then at the wrist, the typical hinge and swivel. Ab crunch. Lots of ab crunch here and lots of abs. Abs for days, blue abs. So he can crunch this much. Bring the arm down so you can see. And he could arch the back that much. So you can get that fully transformed, transformed look. You can pull it off pretty good thanks to the ab crunch that the figure has. Of course, he's got the swivel at the waist. At the crotch, the skirt is short and it's made of a very thin rubber, which is great because it doesn't really hinder the range of motion. You could, if you want to, you could do a split, but this side of the skirt kind of catches on the upper thigh a little more. But you could do it. Now, if you wanted to get a little more range of motion, I don't know if you want to do this with a $60 figure, is you could cut a slit here up both sides of the skirt. And that's been done with a lot of figures that have skirts and stuff. And it'll definitely give you a lot more range with the legs, but not quite sure why you would want to straddle Mumm anything that wide open. So the upper thighs, we've got the ball hinge and the swivel at the upper thigh. At the knee, there's a single hinge, but there's also a swivel. So you could get slight range of motion here and there. Gives you a little bit more control for posing. And then at the ankle, he has the hinge and the rocker, which provides that horizontal or like flat on the ground posability when you want to put him in dynamic poses. So all in all, he's great. He's large. He is very posable. And thankfully so, because you want to do some crazy stuff with this guy. You want to pose him fighting the Thundercats. You want to pose him in Mumra transformed pose. Whatever you want to do with this guy, you can pretty much pull it off thanks to the engineering and the dynamics. Another thing that's amazing is the fact that we have a wired cape, and the wired cape has wires along the inside of the cape, right here, right here, right here, and then also all along the edges of the seam. So that allows for quite a lot of dynamic interpretation with a cape. There's a lot of crazy stuff you could do with a cape, have it billowing in the air, have it wrapped around his body, like if, it's just kind of wrapping around him from the wind blowing in a certain direction. It's just amazing. This figure is basically everything that I expected it to be and then some. It's an amazing figure. It's finally here. The paint apps, to be honest, I didn't find any major flaws, thankfully, on this big guy. Paint apps discrepancies would have been a lot more noticeable on this guy. I didn't really see anything that really caught the eye. Actually, everything's painted very well. I like the use of the metallics, the coppers and the golds for the boots, for the wrist cuffs, for the edging on the bottom of the skirt, the bracelet at the forearm there, at the elbow, and then of course the crest on the crown. Just really beautiful accents. I love the fact that they did the serpent emblem. They did it as a raised sculpt attached to the chest versus just painting the emblem on the chest. That was a really nice little added touch. And then of course, we have the two heads. So here we have the screaming head, and if you want to have the more serious head, just pop this one off. Yeah, pop this bad boy right on. And that's amazing. That's Mumra, fully realized in plastic form. There have been other iterations of this figure. I would say the one that has come closest to what we wanted in action figure form, which we are going to have now with this guy, was the Staction that came out about 10 years ago that the Four Horsemen made. I don't own that anymore because I just decided I wanted to get rid of everything that's not posable in my collection. So I've been waiting for a very long time, and he's finally here. And wow, the wait has been long, but it really did pay off. This guy really delivers on every angle. The only thing that I could say I have a major gripe with is the Sword of Plundar. I think if this would have been painted in a metallic silver, it would have made it so much better. And also if it would have been a little thicker on the blade rather than this flat kind of flushed plastic, it would have had like a better feel, like a weapon, But other than that, this figure is amazing, fantastic. He looks incredible. And of course, now we can pose him next to the Thundercats, next to, his mummified version. And you could really get a sense of scale, which we're going to go ahead and do that now. So here we are. We can finally display Lion-O versus Mumra, the Ever-Living, in action figure form. This is an amazing moment for Thundercats fans. We can finally do this awesome display. I know a lot of people, especially me, have been dying to do some really awesome toy photography with Lion-O facing off Mumra. And now it can be realized. And you can see here the difference in scale as you see Lion-O standing next to Mumra. Here we're going to put the mummy version of Mumra next to him so you can see difference in scale as well. Significant, just the way it should be, the way it is represented in the cartoons. It looks amazing. And what can I say? I mean, it's really, it's just something that's been way too long of a wait, but it's finally here. We can finally put this to rest. We can finally add this monster of a figure to our collections. And it couldn't be a better time to be a Thundercat fan. Honestly, there are flaws. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There are a lot of flaws with Wave 2 if you've already seen my other reviews. But thankfully, Mumra is not plagued by those said flaws. We have a lot less issues, basically none, to be honest, with Mumra the Ever Living as we had with other characters. So moving from this wave, which was Wave 2, which was done in the old factory, moving towards the new figures that are coming out, Wave 4, which will be shipping very soon to customers, along with Wave 2. From Wave 4 and beyond, it's all being done in the new factory. And I can tell you in hand, the quality, the QC, everything has taken a huge step towards the positive. So don't let Wave 2 be a judge of what's to come. There's a lot of awesomeness coming in Wave 5.5 with Mandora, which is available for pre-order now and beyond. I mean, I'm pretty sure Wave 6 pre-orders should be going up very soon, maybe in April. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me for this advanced look at Mumra the Ever Living. Make sure to keep it locked on Toy Addict 26 for the latest toy news and reviews, and of course, another advanced look at other Wave 2 Thundercats Ultimates figures from Super 7.